So hello to everyone. First I would like to thank the organizer for letting me the opportunity to present the work that we are doing with my collaborators. I'm Adrien Bourgoin, I'm a postdoc at CIRT in Observatoire de Paris, and I'm also working at CEA. And I'm going to talk about the impact of strong magnetic fields on gravitational waves that are emitted by compact binary system in the context of the future LISA mission. So as I said, the object that we are going to focus on for the next 10 minutes are compact galactic binaries that are formed with white dwarfs or also neutron stars. And the properties, the physical properties of this object are reported here, so for the radius, the mass, but also the capacity. And for the LISA frequency windows, that is between 10 to -1 and 10 to -4 Hertz, this object will have a semi-major axis ranging from 10 to the 4 to 10 to the 6 km, which correspond to orbital period from 10 seconds to 10 hours approximately. And the main important point for the rest of the discussion is the fact that this object can be really magnetized with magnetic fields that can reach 10 to the 9 Gauss in the case of white dwarf, but also 10 to 15 Gauss in the case of neutron stars. And if we compute an order of magnitude for the magnetic moments, we will see that the magnetic moments of white dwarfs are actually stronger than the magnetic moment for neutron star. And hereafter, we are focusing on an effect which is proportional to this magnetic moment. And so we are going only to focus our attention on the case of white dwarf system. And the problematic we want to ask, or at least the answer we want to ask, is how the magnetic effects that can be important in such a compact system must be taken into account while designing a gravitational wave template for the future LISA mission. So I'm sure that everybody knows the purpose of the LISA mission, of course. So I will just remind that LISA is a space mission that is predicted to be launched in 2034, and that is aiming at observing gravitational waves from a bunch of different gravitational wave sources, among which we find these galactic binaries, which are reported in this plot as blue dots. And we see also the LISA sensitivity as the black dashed line. And between 10 to -4 and 10 to -1, we see that clearly the main gravitational sources of signal would be the galactic binaries. So it's really important for astrophysics because LISA will allow us to understand a bit more the physics in the strong field regime, of course, but it will also allows us to understand the mass distribution, but also the internal structure of these objects. And to do this, we will have to be able to generate accurate gravitational wave templates for these objects, by taking into account, of course, all the physical effects that could be observed for LISA, considering that LISA is going to observe for 4 years. So just a quick reminder about what is gravitational wave. So gravitational wave is a perturbation of the geometry of space-time that is due to the acceleration of non-spherical mass distribution. And this is exactly what this formula tells us, which is the quadruple formula found by Einstein in 1916. And among all the tensorial quantity here, we can show that only two are actually independent, namely the plus and the cross polarization, whose effects are depicted here on a circular mass distribution, let's say on a circular distribution of freely falling particles. And we see that as the wave is passing through the system, the spatial distances between the masses is going to change, to fluctuate, to oscillate differently for the two polarizations. So let's see an example about the computation of the gravitational wave signal due here to a simplified case where we have two white dwarfs, let's say, that are orbiting each other around the Keplerian orbit. So we can compute thanks to the thanks to the quadruple formula of Einstein, we can compute the signal. And here is reported the signal as a function of the number of orbits for different eccentricity. What we observe is that the signal oscillates at 2 times the orbital frequency of the system, and that the amplitude, namely h0, which is whose formula is given here, is dependent about the shape of the orbit. namely the semi-major axis or the eccentricity. And the modulation of the signal will be function about the eccentricity, but also the orientation of the orbit, and that is given by the three angles here. So the inclination, the longitude of the node, and also the argument of the periastron. So if we have a perturbation beyond the Keplerian motion, we will have some variation of this Keplerian element, so that we can expect to have some change in the amplitude of the signals, but also in the modulation of the signal. And this is really important in the context of LISA, because LISA will observe some compact binary system, at least for a period of 4 years. So we expect to observe some deviation to the Keplerian motion. So the first one, obviously, due to general relativity, and probably we will have to take into account the terms of the 2.5 post-Newtonian corrections, and also the dynamical tides that have been demonstrated by Fuller in a series of papers. And this effect of tides can be really important in the context of LISA, especially due to modification of the semi-major axis of the orbits. And these effects of tides are really important too, because with them we will be able to have information about the nature of the state of matter inside the white dwarf, so the internal structure or the mass distribution inside this system. And now we are going to see if the magnetic effects can also be an effect that would be visible by LISA. So to investigate this, we are focusing on this system. So we imagine that we have two white dwarfs which are orbiting each other under the action of gravity, so considering also general relativistic terms up to the 2.5 post-Newtonian correction. And we also consider that we have each white dwarf that is emitted a magnetic field, a dipolar magnetic field, that is orientated with the magnetic moments here, mu A and also mu B. And we assume for simplicity that the magnetic moments are aligned with the spin of the objects. So the first thing that we want to do is to see the effect of this magnetic interaction on the orbit, but also on the rotational, on the orientation of these magnetic moments. So what we have done is to first derive the secular equation that governs the orbital motion, but also the rotational motion of this system. And then we have solved this equation numerically, but also analytically, in order to understand the physical behavior of this system. What we found is depicted here on this slide. So first, on the rotational motion, we found that the angle beta, which is the angle between the line of node and the projection of the magnetic moment on the orbital plane, so this angle is going to experience a secular variation. So this angle is going to change linearly in time, so that we have a precession motion of the magnetic moments. And the rate of precession is given by this formula, which is proportional to the product of both magnetic moments, and also that is involving some terms that are describing the orbital motion. We will observe two periodic oscillations of the obliquity angles. So the obliquity angles are just a tilt between the normal to the orbital plane and the magnetic moments. And these angles are going to oscillate around an average value. Concerning the orbital motion, the dipole-dipole interaction can lead to a secular variation of the argument of the periastron. So the rate of precession will be given by this formula, which is once again proportional to the product of both magnetic moments, and the last term that is proportional to some parameters related to the orbit of the system. Additionally, we will observe also a periodic oscillation of the remaining angles, so the inclination and the longitude of the node. Interestingly, the shape of the orbit is not affected by the dipole-dipole interaction. One important point is that the oscillation of the inclination and the longitude of the node is highly attenuated in the regime where the precession of the magnetic moments is higher than the precession of the argument of the periastron caused by the post-Newtonian corrections. And this can occur for a system in really a compact orbit and with really strong magnetic fields. So at the end, for this system, we are left only with one observable effect, which is a secular variation of the argument of the periastron. And this is exactly what is shown here. So we have our solutions, so both numerical and analytical, that are depicted for the evolution of the argument of the periastron, where we have subtracted the effect of the post-Newtonian correction, so the effect of general relativity. So we are left here only with the effect of the dipole-dipole interaction. And we see that we have a secular variation of this angle. So now that we know the orbital effect, we can compute the mode polarization while accounting for this dipole-dipole interaction. And what we can compute also is the error while neglecting this dipole-dipole interaction. And this is the plot which is shown here. So we have the error while neglecting the magnetic effects as a function of the number of orbits, and we see that the error is constantly increasing and can reach up to 100% in only 2 days of observation. So here we have considered that we have a binary system of white dwarf that are close to each other in a really compact orbit, 10 to the 4 kilometers, which correspond to a period of 10 seconds, which is more in the high frequency part that LISA can observe. And we have assumed that these white dwarfs have really strong magnetic fields, it's 10 to the 9 Gauss. And we see that for this system, the effect can reach 2 days in only, can reach 100% of error in only 2 days of observation. So in that case, the magnetic effects are really important to be taken into account. So to summarize, what we have done is to focus our attention on the magnetic effects because some of the sources that LISA is going to observe are going to be highly magnetized. We have seen that the magnetic moments are actually more important for the white dwarf system than for the neutron star system. Also, we have focused our attention on the system of white dwarfs. We have derived the secular equation governing the orbital motion, but also the rotational motion. And we have found that the overall effect is an advance of the argument of the periastron. We have found the formula for the rate of precession of the argument of periastron. And we have seen that for a close orbiting system with strong magnetic fields, that the error while neglecting this dipole-dipole interaction can reach 100% in only 2 days of observation. So that the magnetic effect for highly magnetized objects in close orbits are really important in the context of the LISA mission. So we have to consider these effects. So for the future, what we plan to do is to now not take some a priori magnetic fields, but we want to build a consistent, coherent model, let's say, that will take into account the evolution of the internal structure, not only with magnetism, but also with taking into account the tides effect, the tidal effects, but also the dynamics, the external dynamics of the system. So thank you for your attention.